Radiation poured from the shattered Zarketh vessels as Captain Okafor guided the Leviathan through the debris field. The alien technology was unlike anything humanity had encountered. Sleek structures of impossible metals that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Maintain containment protocols," she ordered, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they'd done. "We don't know what could be waiting for us." In the vessel's research bay, Dr. Eliza Rice hunched over the recovered alien data cores. As Earth's leading xenotechnology specialist, she'd been drafted into the classified response team within hours of the first detection. "They've been watching us for decades," she whispered, translating alien symbols through an algorithm she'd developed on the fly. "They categorized us as pre-civilization, Class 3. Apparently that makes us fair game for exploitation." Colonel Weizong leaned over her shoulder, his weathered face tightening. "Do they mention others like us?" Reyes nodded grimly. "Hundreds of worlds. Some were harvested, others uplifted if they had useful genetic traits." She pointed to a classification chart. The decisions weren't even made by living beings, just automated processes following ancient protocols. Jom turned to the video feed where autonomous submarines were securing massive alien machines from the ocean floor. "Can we reverse engineer this? How much time do we have?" According to their mission parameters, the Zarketh were supposed to report back every solar cycle. When they don't, she let the implication hang. 3 days later, a secure bunker beneath the Himalayas hosted the most significant summit in human history. Representatives from every major nation huddled around displays showing the alien technology being systematically dismantled and studied. "We have perhaps 50 years, Dr. Rice explained, before they send another expedition to check on this one. By then, we need to be ready." The Russian delegate laughed bitterly. 50 years to prepare for war against an interstellar civilization. Impossible. "Not impossible," interrupted a soft voice from the back. Mai Chen, quantum physicist from Beijing University, stepped forward. "I've been studying their propulsion system. It uses principles we've theorized but never implemented. Dimensional folding rather than conventional movement." She projected equations onto the main screen. "With this understanding, we could build our own interstellar vessels within 20 years. Their technology isn't actually that far beyond ours. They've just been stagnant for millennia, relying on automated systems. Then we build," declared the American president, her resolve mirroring the determination around the table. "Not just weapons, but a unified defense. If humanity is to survive, old rivalries end today." They called it the Sentinel Protocol, a global initiative transforming Earth's industries, sciences, and governments toward a single purpose. Shipyards rose from coastal waters. Research facilities expanded beneath mountains. Military structures integrated across former enemy lines. And in orbit above Earth, humanity's first true starships took shape, built with salvaged alien metals and powered by technologies their creators never imagined could be reverse-engineered so quickly. As Eliza Reyes watched the first test flights from her laboratory window, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. The Zarketh had come to exploit a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous, a humanity united by a common threat, driven by an unquenchable determination to ensure their survival among the stars. Grand Inspector Vox Nera paced his private chambers aboard the flagship, mandibles clicking in agitation. The primitive world below defied everything the hegemony had come to expect from new species. Never in his 3-century career had he encountered such a rapid technological leap. 12% of their orbital constructions employ gravitational manipulation we've only mastered 2 millennia ago, his science officer reported, antennae twitching nervously. Their weaponry incorporates elements of Zarketh design, but with modifications we don't fully understand. Vox Nera gazed at the holographic display of Earth's defensive grid. Something about the configuration seemed oddly familiar, yet unsettlingly innovative. These humans had taken hegemony technology and improved upon it, a concept nearly blasphemous to his kind. The council must be informed immediately, he decided, composing a priority transmission. But as he reached for the quantum communicator, an aide burst into his chambers. "Inspector, the humans have transmitted coordinates for a diplomatic meeting. They request your presence aboard their vessel within 6 hours. Demand. A primitive species dares. Not a demand, sir. An invitation. They've provided security guarantees," and the aide hesitated. "They've transmitted the complete schematics of their flagship, including weapons systems and shield frequencies." Voxenera's compound eyes blinked in confusion. Why would they reveal such tactical information? Their message states, "As a gesture of transparency and peaceful intent." The revelation left Voxenera speechless. In hegemony culture, such openness was unheard of. It suggested either supreme confidence or remarkable naivety. Hours later, as his shuttle approached humanity's pride, Voxenera finally understood. The vessel was magnificent, a seamless blend of human aesthetics and Zarketh engineering principles, but scaled to dimensions that dwarfed his own flagship. More impressive were the escort craft, sleek vehicles performing maneuvers his own pilots would consider impossible. Admiral Helena Chen awaited him in a chamber clearly designed to impress. The gravity was calibrated precisely to create discomfort without impairment, a subtle psychological tactic that Voxenera recognized from hegemony diplomatic protocols. "Welcome aboard, Grand Inspector," Chen said through a translator. "I trust your journey was comfortable." Voxenera's diplomatic training failed him momentarily as he took in the human before him. She appeared physically unremarkable, small and fragile compared to his armored exoskeleton. Yet her eyes held an intensity that made his carapace tighten instinctively. "You've studied our protocols," he observed, gesturing to the room's design. Chen smiled thinly. "We've studied everything, Inspector. Your language, your biology, your history." She slid a datapad across the table, its interface perfectly adapted for his manipulator appendages, including this. The screen displayed familiar data, the complete mission parameters of the Zarketh mining operation, including the hegemony's dismissive assessment of Earth as expendable. "We recovered your databases," Chen continued, her voice maintaining perfect diplomatic composure despite the damning evidence. "We know exactly how your hegemony views undeveloped species. We demand reparations." Voxenera chittered a nervous laugh. "You misunderstand your position in the Galactic Order." Chen's smile never reached her eyes as she activated the room's display screens. "Actually, we understand perfectly." The screens showed real-time footage of 3 hegemony outposts in neighboring systems. As Voxenera watched in horror, stealth vessels, human-designed but incorporating Zarketh technology, decloaked around each facility. One by one, the outposts went dark. "Did you think we'd wait in our cradle for your return?" Chen asked quietly. "We've been beyond our solar system for 20 years. Kethrix floated to the center of the council chamber, his translucent body casting prismatic patterns across the ancient stone. For millennia, the Axiom species had evolved beyond physical concerns, their consciousness partially merged with the quantum substrate of reality itself. When Kethrix spoke, even the most bellicose council members listened. "You misunderstand what we face." His thoughts resonated directly in their minds, bypassing language entirely. "I have examined the human neural architecture. It is familiar." He projected a series of comparative brain scans. Observe the pattern recognition centers, the emotional connectivity, the creative pathways. They resemble the Axiom from before our transformation. The chamber erupted in gasps and chittering. Supreme Counselor Devex's armored appendage crashed against his console. "Impossible. The Axiom are sacred precursors. These animals cannot be related." "Not related," Kethrix corrected, his form pulsing with ancient wisdom. "Convergent evolution. They evolved independently to our pre-ascension state." He projected memories from Earth's datanet. Humans composing symphonies, creating art, weeping at beauty, dying for principles. And that makes them more dangerous. Not less, added the chief xenobiologist, her 6 eyes blinking asynchronously in distress. They combine axiom-like creativity with predator instincts. Their history is written in blood, yet they build wonders. Divex leaned forward, his exoskeleton creaking. If they are so dangerous, why advocate alliance? We should sterilize their world immediately. Cathrix's form condensed, a sign of profound emotion among his kind. Because they choose. When attacked, they negotiated before annihilation. Their historical records show consistent patterns. They can be unimaginably violent, yet equally compassionate. They defend their young as we do, but they extend this protection to other species. He projected footage of humans rescuing animals from disasters, establishing conservation programs, sacrificing themselves for strangers. Their capacity for both creation and destruction makes them unique, Cathrix continued. They could become our greatest allies, or our extinction. The choice we make today determines which. The military projections remain stark. Even with the hegemony's numerical advantage, direct conflict with Earth predicted casualties in the billions and infrastructure damage requiring centuries to repair. The vote was narrow, 52% favoring alliance, 48% favoring war. Earth received the unprecedented offer: full hegemony membership with substantial reparations. Later, Divex gathered his loyalists in a secure chamber. His most trusted aide adjusted privacy fields to prevent quantum eavesdropping. The treaty includes 17 separate regulatory frameworks, Divex explained, projecting the document. Humans will be constantly monitored, their expansion carefully managed through resource allocation committees we control. His second-in-command, General Kravtur, scoffed. They'll detect such obvious restrictions. The restrictions aren't obvious. Divex displayed seemingly innocuous clauses. Trade regulations, cultural exchange protocols, technological standardization requirements. Each provision appears beneficial while subtly constraining human activity. They'll be contained before they realize the chains exist. Meanwhile, in Earth's Geneva bunker, Admiral Chen and her team dissected the same document. Clever, she murmured, highlighting the hidden restrictions. They've constructed a bureaucratic cage expecting we won't recognize the bars. General Okafor studied the treaty's fine print. Your recommendation? Chen smiled thinly. We accept with our own modifications. She displayed Earth's counter-proposal, containing equally subtle loopholes. Let's see if they notice the escape hatches we're building. Dr. Rice, now Earth's foremost xenopsychologist, nodded approvingly. They expect submission from a lesser species. Their arrogance blinds them to equal opposition. Let them think they've won, Chen concluded. The real game has only just begun. Cross-reference complete, Aisha Khan announced, her eyes never leaving the holographic display. Third genocide confirmed. The Tretians, humanoid philosophers from the Cygnus arm. Official hegemony record lists their extinction as evolutionary self-correction. Captain Miguel Santos swore softly. That's what they call genocide now. The Odyssey's secure data chamber hummed with quantum processors analyzing intelligence gathered from across hegemony space. What had begun as Admiral Chen's personal suspicion had evolved into humanity's largest covert operation. Thousands of human operatives placed throughout the galaxy, each gathering fragments of a disturbing puzzle. The pattern is unmistakable, Dr. Hiroshi Yamamoto indicated, adjusting his spectacles as he overlaid star charts. 7 species with human-like cognitive patterns, all eliminated within the last 3,000 years. Each extinction classified as necessary guidance or evolutionary correction. And the suppression continues with existing species, Khan added, highlighting dozens of worlds. These populations are classified as developing under supervision. In reality, they're being deliberately stunted. Advanced technologies confiscated. Leaders who push for progress eliminated in accidents. Santos studied the evidence grimly. The hegemony isn't just preserving the status quo. They're engineering it. The question is why, Yamamoto said quietly. What are they so afraid of? The answer arrived unexpectedly 3 days later. A junior cryptographer, analyzing ancient hegemony educational materials, discovered references to the Great Severance, an event purged from public archives, but preserved in children's moral lessons. "Listen to this," she told Santos, translating the text. "Before the severance, chaos reigned. Species evolved without guidance, developing dangerous traits, independent thought, nonconformity, violence. The progenitors established the hegemony to ensure such dangerous evolution never threatens galactic stability again." Santos immediately transmitted the discovery through secure channels to Mars. Within hours, Admiral Chen called an emergency session beneath Olympus Mons. For the first time since the Sentinel Protocol began, Earth's entire leadership assembled physically in one location. "We've discovered the hegemony's foundational purpose," Chen began, her weathered face grim beneath the holographic displays. "Genetic and cognitive control of all sentient life. Any species showing certain traits, particularly our capacity for independent action and rapid adaptation, is either destroyed or permanently suppressed." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "They fear what they can't predict," General Okafor concluded. "And humans are nothing if not unpredictable." Dr. Reyes, who had pioneered Earth's understanding of alien psychology, nodded. "Most hegemony species evolved as hive minds or rigid hierarchies. Individual variation is minimal. Our neurological structure, our capacity for individual creativity combined with collective action, terrifies them at an instinctive level. And yet," Chen continued, "the hegemony isn't monolithic. Kithrix and his faction support our inclusion. The Commerce Guild values our innovations." She displayed a galaxy map showing political alignments. "We have potential allies." "So what's our play?" Okafor asked. "Withdraw entirely, or reform this system from within?" Chen's eyes hardened. "Neither. The hegemony was built on the suppression of species like ours. It cannot be salvaged, but parts of it can be saved." She revealed humanity's most ambitious plan yet, Operation Prometheus. Not just resistance or reform, but carefully orchestrated revolution, freeing suppressed species, forming new alliances, and dismantling the hegemony's control mechanisms systematically. "They call us wolves," Chen said quietly. "Perhaps it's time the sheep saw what we can do to the shepherds." The junior lieutenant at the back, recording the session for Earth's archives, felt a chill at the Admiral's words. The galaxy was about to change forever. Commander Takashi Akita maintained his professional smile as the 7th Security Checkpoint completed its scan of High Counselor Devex's delegation. The Vrex dignitary's mandibles twitched with irritation. "Your security measures border on insulting, Commander," Devex said, his translator rendering the clicks and whistles into smooth standard Galactic. "I represent the Cosmic Council itself." "My apologies, Counselor," Akita replied, bowing slightly. "Europa-based protocols are exceptionally stringent, given the summit's importance." What he didn't mention was that protocols normally stopped at 3 checkpoints. The additional scans had been implemented specifically for this meeting. In the Security Monitoring Center, Officer Fatima Al-Zarani's eyes, narrowed as anomalous readings appeared on her quantum scanner. The ceremonial orb in Diplomatic Package 4 exhibited particle fluctuations consistent with dimensional manipulation. "Director Chen," she reported through her neural link, "potential dimensional weapon detected in the Vrex delegation's ceremonial items." Half a kilometer away, Admiral Chen, now Earth's Director of Galactic Security, received the alert. Her face remained impassive during her meeting with Ceralian representatives, but her pulse quickened. The intelligence had been correct. The Peace Summit was a trap. "Contain and neutralize," she subvocalized through her neural implant. Full isolation protocols. Within 90 seconds, the orb was secured in a dimensional dampening field. Specialized teams extracted it from the Europa facility via automated transport to a containment facility on Ganymede, all while the diplomatic proceedings continued without interruption. 3 hours later, President Okonkwo stared at the holographic analysis of the weapon. A stellar destabilizer, the chief weapons analyst explained. If activated within Jupiter's orbit, it would have collapsed our sun into a micro-black hole within hours. They tried to kill our sun, Okonkwo whispered, her hands trembling slightly. Admiral Chen's response shocked everyone present. We do nothing. Publicly. The room erupted in protests until Chen raised her hand for silence. Devex must believe his plan failed naturally. Perhaps radiation interference from Jupiter's magnetosphere. If he suspects we detected the weapon, they'll accelerate their timetable for open conflict. Instead, she activated Operation Shadow, Earth's most extensive covert mission, years in the planning. Thousands of human operatives embedded throughout hegemony space received the activation code, Prometheus Unbound. On the Vrex homeworld, Sasha Petrov, officially a diplomatic translator assigned to Supreme Counselor Devex's household, received the encrypted signal through her quantum implant. For 3 years, she had served as the counselor's trusted aide, exploiting the Vrex psychological need for efficiency and structure that made human assistance particularly valuable. That evening, as Devex consulted with his generals, Petrov served traditional Vrex stimulants, her posture appropriately deferential. The weapon malfunctioned. Devex chittered angrily. Jupiter's radiation fields were stronger than anticipated. The invasion proceeds regardless, responded General Crafter. 300 capital ships assemble beyond their detection range. Petrov's implants recorded everything, her enhanced neural architecture processing the tactical data while maintaining perfect composure. That night, while Devex entered his hibernation cycle, she accessed his private terminal, her fingers dancing across alien interfaces she had mastered years ago. The invasion plans were more extensive than intelligence had predicted. Complete sterilization of Sol using concentrated dark energy weapons, followed by systematic destruction of all known human outposts. As she transmitted the data through untraceable quantum channels, Petrov felt a cold determination settle over her. She had been born on one of Earth's orbital habitats, had never felt soil beneath her feet, and now these aliens planned to eradicate her species entirely. Let them try, she whispered to herself, uploading the final activation codes for the dormant virus hidden in software updates she'd been installing throughout the hegemony fleet for years. Captain Maya Rodriguez studied the tactical display aboard the interceptor-class vessel Nemesis. The Kaldor asteroid field sprawled before her, a chaotic maze of mineral-rich rocks that had made this system the galaxy's primary source of quantum-stabilizing elements. Now it would become a battlefield. Vrex fleet approaching outer sensor perimeter, her tactical officer reported. 120 vessels, twice our intelligence estimates. Rodriguez nodded calmly. They're expecting a conventional defense. She opened a channel to her squadron commanders. Initiate Operation Hornet's Nest. Micro-squadrons deploy to designated zones. Gravity disruptors to standby. Remember, they expect us to fight like them. The 12 coalition vessels dispersed with precision, vanishing into the asteroid field. Conventional military doctrine, human or alien, dictated holding formation against superior numbers. But Admiral Chen's revolutionary tactics emphasized leveraging chaos instead of fighting against it. Lieutenant Quaim Aphalean monitored the quantum calculations from engineering. His proposal, using modified frigates as sacrificial gravity bombs, had initially been dismissed as too radical until Rodriguez championed it. Gravity distortion packages primed, Captain, he reported. Drone frigates in position. Rodriguez nodded. Now we wait. The Vrex Armada entered the asteroid field in perfect battle formation, a tiered wedge of capital ships surrounded by lighter escort vessels. Their sensors swept for coalition ships, but advanced stealth technology rendered the human vessels nearly invisible against the background radiation. They're good, Rodriguez's XO whispered. Too rigid, but good. They're predictable, Rodriguez corrected. And that's why they'll lose. As the Vrex formation reached the designated coordinates, Rodriguez gave the order. All vessels, execute microjumps. Pattern Epsilon. The human ships performed an impossible maneuver. Micro-FTL jumps within the asteroid field, appearing briefly to fire concentrated barrages before vanishing again. The precision required was extraordinary. A miscalculation of even milliseconds would result in collision with an asteroid or emergence inside solid matter. The Vrex commanders, trained in formation warfare, found their carefully arranged ships suddenly under attack from multiple vectors simultaneously. As they attempted to reorganize, Rodriguez launched the second phase. Deploy gravity disruptors. 3 automated frigates accelerated toward key points in the Vrex formation. As the enemy targeted them, the frigates detonated their experimental drives, creating localized gravity wells that distorted spacetime itself. The effect was catastrophic. Vrex vessels, their navigation systems unable to compensate for the sudden gravitational fluctuations, collided with each other and nearby asteroids. Their rigid command structure, where all decisions required hierarchical approval, crumbled as communications failed. The humans are everywhere and nowhere. Panicked the Vrex fleet commander as his perfect formation disintegrated into chaos. Rodriguez watched dispassionately as the tactical display updated. 86 enemy vessels disabled or destroyed. 3 coalition ships lost. Transmit to all remaining Vrex vessels, she ordered. Standard surrender protocols. Her communications officer hesitated. Captain, there's a transmission coming from the Vrex command ship. Audio only. A series of clicks and whistles filled the bridge, automatically translated. What manner of warfare is this? You violate all established combat doctrines. Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. Inform them this is merely the beginning. If they surrender, their crews will be treated humanely according to coalition protocols. In his war chamber on the Vrex homeworld, Supreme Counselor Devex received the battle reports with cold fury. The Caldor system, the hegemony's primary source of critical resources, had fallen to an absurdly small human fleet using tactics no civilized species would consider. They're not just dangerous themselves, he hissed to his inner circle. They're teaching others to be dangerous too. On 17 formerly suppressed worlds, revolution had erupted simultaneously with the Battle of Caldor Prime. Species that had been docile for millennia suddenly displayed unprecedented coordination and tactical innovation, all bearing the unmistakable signature of human influence. The galaxy was changing, and Devex knew exactly who to blame. Admiral Chen sat alone in her quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel Concordia, reviewing the casualty figures from the latest engagements. 3 years of war had transformed the galaxy's political landscape, but at tremendous cost. 27 million coalition lives lost. Estimated hegemony casualties approaching 5 billion. She rubbed her temples, feeling every one of her 68 years. The tactical victories continued. Coalition forces had never lost a direct engagement, but strategic victory remained elusive. The hegemony's sheer numerical advantage meant even brilliant victories like Caldor Prime couldn't end the conflict. The door chimed, interrupting her thoughts. The Vrex delegation has arrived at Axiom Station, her aide reported. Lord High General Zox Themar leads them personally. Chen nodded grimly. Tell them I'll be ready in an hour. After the aide departed, Chen activated her secure terminal, reviewing intelligence on Zox Themar. Unlike his father Devex, the younger Vrex had earned a reputation for pragmatism. His tactical innovations had slowed the coalition's advance on several fronts, the only hegemony commander to adapt to human-style warfare. Know your enemy, she murmured, studying his combat record. The Axiom Station hung suspended in the void between spiral arms, its ancient architecture reflecting Kethrix's species' aesthetic sensibilities. As Chen's shuttle approached, she noted the Vrex flagship already docked, a massive vessel bristling with weapons. Security teams from both sides maintained tense vigilance as Chen entered the council chamber. Zox Themar waited, his imposing figure encased in ceremonial battle armor that concealed most of his features. Supreme Commander, He greeted formally, mandibles clicking beneath his translator. "My father sends his respects." The diplomatic pleasantries masked lethal tension. Both sides presented terms, neither willing to concede fundamental positions. Hours passed with minimal progress. During a brief recess, Chen's security chief approached with alarm. "Movement in the ventilation system," she whispered. "Possible infiltration." Chen nodded almost imperceptibly, casually shifting her position to better observe the chamber. Something felt wrong, not just the vents, but subtle behaviors among certain staff members from both delegations. Then she noticed a Xeralian aide serving refreshments with slightly trembling appendages. The pattern clicked into place. "Down," she shouted as her security team rushed to form a protective barrier. Too late, she realized they'd misidentified the threat. Not assassins in the vents, but nanobots in the refreshments. A radical hegemony splinter group, likely Purification Front extremists, had infiltrated both delegations' support staff. Zox the Mar convulsed as the nanobots attacked his nervous system. His security forces, believing themselves under human attack, opened fire. Chen's people returned defensive fire. Making a split-second decision, Chen broke through the defensive line. She injected her personal anti-nanobot countermeasure, standard equipment for human commanders who had faced such attacks before, directly into Zox the Mar's neck, leaving herself exposed. A Vrex energy blade caught her across the abdomen as she shielded his immobile form. The pain was blinding, but she maintained consciousness long enough to identify the actual assassins. "Purification Front," she gasped to her security chief. Both sides targeted. Medical teams worked frantically to stabilize both leaders as security forces from both delegations, surprisingly, cooperated to contain the actual assassins. Hours later, Chen awoke in the station's medical bay. Beside her, separated by a transparent barrier, lay Zox the Mar, his condition stabilized but still critical. "Why?" the Vrex commander asked weakly, mandibles clicking in confusion as he noticed her consciousness. "I am your enemy." Commander Layla Nasser felt the familiar vibration as the Alexandria's quantum drives engaged, pushing the peace cruiser to the edge of explored space. Her diverse bridge crew, representing 8 formerly warring species, operated with seamless efficiency that would have been unimaginable 2 decades earlier. "Boundary marker achieved," Commander reported Lieutenant Tupper, her Xeralian navigational officer. His species had been among the first to join the peacekeeping force after the war, their natural spatial awareness making them exceptional navigators. "Hold position," Nasser ordered. Standard sensor sweep of the intergalactic void. Science officer Raiko Zhang, hunched over her console, suddenly straightened. "Commander, massive energy signatures detected at coordinates 227 Mark 88. The main view screen shifted to display the anomaly. Swirling vortices of dark energy, unlike anything in Cosmic Council records. As they watched, a small asteroid drifted too close to one vortex and simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not transformed. Its matter completely unmade. "Full reverse thrust," Nasser ordered. "Priority transmission to Cosmic Council headquarters." The Alexandria barely escaped, its engines straining as they raced back to warn the galaxy. The threat defied comprehension. Entities of pure dark energy, consuming everything in their path without discrimination. Within 24 hours, the emergency session of the Cosmic Council convened. The chamber that had once hosted bitter enemies now united representatives from every corner of the galaxy. The ancient Kethrix pulsed with visible alarm. "We have legends of such beings," his thoughts resonated through the chamber. "The Devourers. They cleansed this galaxy once before, in cycles beyond memory." Admiral Chen, now in her 70s but still Earth's voice in the Council, studied the sensor readings. Conventional weapons had no effect. The entities simply absorbed the energy. 3 border outposts had already been consumed despite the combined peacekeeping fleet's best efforts. Billions of lives hung in the balance. Devex, once Supreme Counselor, but now merely the Vrex representative, rose slowly from his seat. Age and countless battles had weathered his once imposing form. For decades, he had opposed human influence at every turn. Now, before the entire council, he performed the Vrex gesture of supplication, lowering his armored body until his mandibles touched the floor. 3 centuries ago, he stated, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into measured words, we discovered Earth and saw only resources to plunder. Today, we face extinction and see our only salvation. His compound eyes lowered. We who once plotted Terra's destruction now plead for her protection. The council chamber fell silent. Centuries of galactic history, countless conflicts, prejudices, and tentative alliances converged in this moment. Commander Nasser stepped forward, her uniform bearing the sword and olive branch insignia of the Peacekeepers. We accept this responsibility, she said, her voice steady, not for glory, not for power, but because defending life, all life, is what humans do. She removed her ceremonial sidearm and placed it on the council table. We were forged in adversity, tempered by conflict, but defined by our capacity for compassion. Nasser extended her hand to Devex, a human gesture of partnership. Earth stands with you. After a moment's hesitation, the old Vrex warrior clasped her hand in his war gauntlet, the first time in history a Vrex had touched a human without violence.